Watch this.
Let's just be honest. When LeBron is locked in, he makes the runs. He takes his teams to the next level when he's locked in. He don't look locked in at all this summer. Even when he was with AD, him and AD were locked in. For at least 3 years, they were locked in. They still didn't have pieces that could take them where they wanted to go, but we knew when them two guys got on the floor together, the Lakers could make a run. Whether it was going to third or going to fifth or sixth or even getting out of the play-in, we knew that the Lakers, with LeBron locked in, we gonna do this. Not being ready for the season opener, not being locked in with Luka. DeAndre Ayton comes in, whether you're locked in with Austin Reeves or not, like the team will have no cohesiveness right now.
LeBron's locked in. We asked the chat, is LeBron locked in? 58% of the chat agrees with you, says no.
Locked in? I hate being locked in.
LeBron James wasn't at training camp. He wasn't at preseason. And when cameras finally caught him, it wasn't in Lakers gold and purple. It was at a streaming event, laughing, dancing, living life like October basketball didn't even exist. That's when Rashad McCants had enough. On Gil's Arena, he looked straight into the camera and said what millions of Lakers fans had been whispering for weeks. He don't look locked in at all this summer. That single line set NBA social media on fire. Because when a former first-round pick and LeBron contemporary says the Kings not taking the game seriously, people listen. And when Gilbert Arenas and Kenyon Martin nod instead of pushing back, you know something's off in Los Angeles. But here's the thing. McCants might have just revealed more than he realized. This isn't only about missed practices or viral dance clips. This could be the clearest sign yet that LeBron James has emotionally checked out on the Lakers. And the wildest part? The evidence was there all along. You just had to connect the dots. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we're about to break down one of the most important stories about LeBron James right now. And it's not what you think it is. Because Rashad McCants just called out LeBron for not being locked in this season. And on the surface, that's a fair critique. LeBron's missing training camp. He's missing preseason. He's missing the first weeks of the season. His timeline keeps getting pushed back. The whole situation looks suspicious. But here's the thing. The real story isn't about effort or laziness. It's about a legend realizing his power over an organization is slipping away. It's about ego, control, and what happens when the man who always dictated the narrative starts losing grip on it. So stick around because we're breaking down what's actually happening with LeBron, why McCants is both right and missing the point, and what this really means for the end of an era in the NBA. Let's get into it. Rashad McCants makes a fair point, but incomplete. Rashad McCants came with a legitimate critique. He said LeBron doesn't look locked in. He said the Lakers don't have chemistry. He said LeBron's supposed to make players be a unit, to take them to dinner, to TikTok challenges, to build actual cohesion. And he's right. That's what Miami LeBron did. That's what championship-level LeBron looks like. But here's where McCants is coming from, a mentality that doesn't apply anymore. He's thinking like a 27-year-old in the prime of his career. He's thinking about two-a-days and film sessions at midnight and showing up early to camp. He's thinking about the grind, the commitment, the all-in mentality. LeBron is 40 years old. He's not that player anymore, and it's not because he's lazy or doesn't care. It's because the math changes at 40. You physically cannot go full throttle 24/7 for an entire NBA season at that age and survive. You just can't. Your body won't recover. Your joints won't bounce back. Your mind won't stay sharp. So LeBron has evolved from grind mode to maintenance mode. That's not a weakness. That's intelligence. That's a veteran understanding his own physiology and managing his workload strategically. But, and this is important, McCants is right about something else. There's a difference between smart load management and emotional detachment. And right now, LeBron's showing signs of both. The difference between not locked in and emotionally detached. Let's be clear about what we're actually seeing from LeBron. It's not that he can't perform. It's not that he's suddenly lost his ability. It's that his energy around the team feels different. His presence feels different. His engagement feels different. He's missing training camp. That's calculated. He's missing preseason. That's strategic. But he's also not on social media talking about the season. He's not building hype. He's not doing what LeBron normally does, which is control the narrative around his team. That's not laziness. That's something else. That's a conscious decision to step back from the organizational dynamics. And that matters because leadership in the NBA isn't just about showing up and performing on game day. Leadership is about setting the tone. It's about energy. It's about making everyone around you believe in the mission. If LeBron's showing up emotionally detached, that ripples through the entire roster. Young players like Austin Reeves see that, and they're like, if our guy isn't all in, why should we be? So yes, McCants is right. LeBron doesn't look locked in, but it's not just about effort, it's about something deeper. The control game, why LeBron's strategy actually makes sense. Now let's talk about what's actually happening here, because this is where it gets interesting. The Lakers chose not to extend LeBron. They brought in Luka Doncic. They basically said, we're pivoting toward the future. You're year to year. That was a message. That was the Lakers front office saying, you're not the future. We're moving on. For a player like LeBron, who has spent his entire career building organizations around his influence, who has always dictated terms, who has always been the priority, that message landed hard. So what does he do? He doesn't blow up publicly. He doesn't demand a trade or throw a fit. He's too smart for that. Instead, he does something more calculated. He controls the narrative through absence. Every day he misses training camp, that's a headline. Every week of preseason, he's gone, that's a story. Every game he's unavailable for, that's another question mark about the Lakers' future. And with each of those headlines, LeBron reminds the organization and the league that he's still the story. That even at 40, injured or not, the Lakers' season revolves around his availability. That's not sabotage, that's control. That's a veteran using the media ecosystem and organizational uncertainty to maintain relevance and leverage. This is LeBron operating at the highest level of NBA politics. He's not going to underperform on the court, that would make him look bad. But he's going to control when and how he returns. He's going to make the Lakers wait. He's going to make them wonder. And in doing so, he's reminding them, you might think you're moving on from me, but I'm still the gravitational center of this organization. The silent message, control through absence. Here's what LeBron's really saying without saying it. You didn't extend me. You told the world you're building around Luka and the future. You made plans without me. You didn't even give me the courtesy of a conversation. So why should I show up early? Why should I build chemistry with these guys? Why should I invest emotional energy in an organization that's already decided I'm on my way out? I'll come back when I'm ready. I'll play when I'm healthy. I'll give you my 40-year-old version of excellence. But don't expect me to bleed for this team. Don't expect me to take them to dinner and build culture. Don't expect the old LeBron energy. You made your choice. Now you live with it. And the Lakers can't do anything about it because they're paying him $52.6 million. They're stuck. They have to wait. They have to manage around his timeline. They have to hope that when he comes back, he's ready. That's leverage. That's power. And that's what LeBron's actually exercising right now. The bigger picture, the end of an era. But this isn't really just about one season or one player not being locked in. This is about something much larger. The visible unspooling of LeBron's final act in the NBA. For nearly 2 decades, LeBron has dictated terms. He's been the one making moves. He's been the one deciding when to go to Miami, when to go back to Cleveland, when to go to LA. He's been the one saying, this is what I need to win. Build around me. And for the most part, organizations have complied because LeBron's been worth it, because his presence elevates everything around him. But now, for the first time in his career, LeBron is experiencing what happens when that power flips. When an organization decides to move forward without him. When they're not built around him anymore. And it's revealing something uncomfortable. LeBron's identity is deeply tied to being in control. When he's not in control, when he's not the gravitational center, something shifts. That's not a personal flaw, that's just human. But it's also why this moment matters so much. Because we're watching the end of the LeBron era. Not because he's declining physically, He can still play, but because the system that allowed him to operate the way he's always operated is finally breaking down. The player empowerment movement that LeBron pioneered and perfected is now being countered by smarter front offices who won't build everything around one player anymore. And LeBron's caught between the old model and the new one, the generational shift happening right now. This is bigger than the Lakers. This is about a cultural shift in the NBA. LeBron was the face of player empowerment. He made it cool for players to control their destinies. He showed that you could dictate where you went, who you played with, how organizations were built around you. It worked for nearly 2 decades. It built championships. It built empires. It built the modern NBA. But now, front offices have learned. They've gotten smarter. They're not building around one person anymore. They're building sustainable systems. They're acquiring talent before one superstar can dictate terms. They're spreading power. And guys like LeBron, who thrived in the old system, are experiencing what it feels like when that system stops working the way it used to. The Lakers didn't back down from LeBron. They brought in another superstar in Luka. They said, "We're not going to be held hostage by one player anymore. We're going to build a team that functions without everything revolving around you." That's revolutionary, and it's terrifying for LeBron. Why his approach is both justified and damaging. So, is LeBron justified in his approach? Yeah, emotionally, absolutely. He's carried this franchise since 2018. He's been to 4 finals. He's delivered 1 championship. He's sold out arenas. He's been the draw. And now they're telling him, "We're good. We don't need you to be the centerpiece anymore. We're moving on." That's harsh. That deserves a reaction. But from a leadership and professional standpoint, his approach is damaging because young players are watching. They're seeing the captain emotionally check out. They're seeing the star player distance himself from team building. And that makes it impossible to build chemistry. That makes it impossible to construct a winning culture. That makes it impossible for guys like Austin Reeves or Rui Hachimura to feel like they're part of something bigger. So LeBron may be playing 4D chess with the organization, but on the court, it looks like disengagement. And that visual is poison for a team trying to compete. What this really means, what we're watching isn't just a 40-year-old player managing his load or taking his time coming back from an injury. What we're watching is the slow-motion end of one era and the painful birth of another. LeBron is experiencing, for the first time in his career, what it feels like to not be in complete control. And he's responding by controlling the only thing he can, his participation. It's not malicious. It's not even conscious on a deep level. It's just a legend realizing his formula doesn't work the way it used to, and he's uncomfortable with that loss of power. The Lakers, meanwhile, are learning that you can't just acquire another superstar and expect a player like LeBron to seamlessly integrate. You have to manage the ego. You have to communicate. You have to make him feel valued, even as you're pivoting toward a new future. Neither side is handling this perfectly. But what's really happening is a fundamental shift in how the NBA operates, and LeBron's experience is the clearest example of what that shift looks like. The final word, locked in or letting go. So is LeBron locked in? No. Rashad McCants is right about that, but it's not the simple story of a washed-up 40-year-old mailing it in. It's a more complex story of a legend experiencing a loss of control for the first time in his career and responding by maintaining the only power he has left, the power to dictate when and how he shows up. That's not excuse-making for LeBron. It's just understanding what's actually happening beneath the surface. When he comes back, he'll probably still be excellent. He'll probably still produce numbers. He'll probably still impact the game at a high level. But something's shifted. The mission energy is gone. The all-in mentality is different. And that changes everything, regardless of what the stat sheet says. Because in the NBA, culture and energy matter. And if your best player isn't emotionally locked in, no amount of talent can completely overcome that. If you made it this far, you clearly care about understanding what's really happening in the NBA beyond just wins and losses. That's what we do here every single week. So if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications so you don't miss when we drop new videos. Drop a comment down below. What's your take? Do you think LeBron's justified in his approach?